Hello, everyone, and welcome to UGA Sports Rumors versus Facts. I am Blaine Gilmer here with Trent Smallwood, and we are excited to be bringing you coverage once again of Georgia football recruiting, all things recruiting related. This show is brought to you in part by Turner Wood and Smith Insurance in cooperation with Auto Owners Insurance. More about them later on, and we also have a new partner on the show that I think y'all are gonna enjoy. We're gonna have a little fun with that as well. So, Trent, getting back another weekend of visitors on campus in Athens. We know that that's Georgia's strong suit is on campus recruiting. Any guys before we start getting into questions and all that later? Any guys or any visits that kind of stood out to you over this past weekend?
I mean, not real. I mean, you had a couple of talented underclassmen guys, but I really looked at it for commits, a couple commits in town, and getting an opportunity to have some of those lower rank, lower the underclassmen in town. I know there were some bigger names in that class. Just having the opportunity to get those guys on campus and show those families love, because when they get out off campus, they can't really show them that love. So just having that opportunity, and it's all about relationship building, building that foundation now. 25 class, and even down to the 26 class. But starting that foundation, and that's what Kirby and his staff really do a good job of. And you talk to any of those players that Georgia lands year in and year out, they talk about the bond, the relationship, and all that stuff and this is where it starts. It starts right now, and these are the type games that it starts at. I know it doesn't seem like a big deal at this point, but it does make a big deal at the end of the day.
Oh yeah, for sure. And when you talk about, you know, some visitors that were on campus, you did have an official visitor in Marcus Deal, being their defensive lineman. Deuce Robinson was in town, a tight end slash athlete slash baseball player. Who knows what he's going to end up being? But he was in town, and even you mentioned a commit. Lawson Lucky was there with him, so he could have been talking to him about what Coach Hartley's like and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I didn't know we were getting to those big names, but yeah, definitely Deuce. I mean that is a guy where you're looking at him where Georgia's got two tight ends committed. You don't really feel like very good chance there, coming into the visit, and then after the visit, the way Georgia utilizes the tight ends for one. The way Todd Hartley and his ability to recruit, two, and the way Athens recruits itself, three, and you got the head coach, of course, is Kirby Smart. And I mean, just all around, it is I think the family, or he saw it as a great opportunity, and I think Georgia is a major player here moving forward.
The thing about that with Brock Bowers doing what he's done, and how they utilize him in different ways. I know that Deuce Robinson is a different type of athlete but being more of a tight end wide receiver hybrid type, and they are bringing in a Pierce Spurlin in the class of 2023. I think Georgia is in a good spot to sell themselves as, listen, hey, we don't put people in a box here, in terms of how we use them. If you can do certain things, that's how we're going to use you, is probably what Todd Monken and Todd Hartley are saying to a guy like Deuce Robinson.
Yeah, and they're finding Brock's a different animal. I know we're talking about a
generation
who could play running back at probably 99% of the 100% of the college. He's leading Georgia in rushing pretty much. I think he has more yards than any of Alabama's running backs. But but here's the thing. You're talking about athleticism. Maybe not up to Brock, but he has wide receiver athleticism, and then you have the frame, not necessarily the weight, but the height of Darnell. So you have a mixture of the two, and you put that on the edge, and you've seen some mismatch games that Georgia's done. They did it in the national championship last year with Darnell, just playing one-on-one in the end zone and things like that. But now you put somebody out on the edge who can legitimately go up and play one-on-one with these cornerbacks, and you kind of saw it with the Falcons the other day. They were doing it with Kyle Pitts, and they were putting them in mismatches. This is exactly the way you can utilize a guy like Deuce Robinson, and there ain't no doubt in my mind that Monken would find a way to utilize him if he's still on campus.
Absolutely. It would be very, very interesting. And two, people forget when you talk about going up and playing one-on-one, that's what Pierce Spurlin's going to be able to bring. He's a totally different guy than what Brock Bowers even is. Like, they've never had a guy like a Pierce Spurlin, and Deuce Robinson would be much more in that similar vein like him. So that is a big visitor.
And you don't want to forget about Brock either.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you still have another year of Brock, and then you have Oscar right behind him. So
it's mind-boggling that Brock Bowers has another year. Like,
it's already special right now that you have those three on campus at the same time, and you still have Gilbert, who's on the roster. But then you have, if you was to pull these two, you still have, or these three, but I still think it's going to be hard to pull all three. But if you did, then you still have Brock coming back. You still have Oscar coming back. Darnell, he's probably he could go to the NFL after this year. I don't know if he plans to. Gilbert, no telling what he's going to have. But you could have a more talented tight end roster next year than you had this year, and that's just hard to imagine.
Yeah, unbelievable. So big stuff there that could possibly be developing on the tight end front. And if that were to happen, I mean, can you build a statue to an assistant coach outside of a stadium? Because Todd Hartley would be in the running for that kind of deal right there if that were to go down.
Auburn would probably come hire him as the head coach or something.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and speaking, guys, of a great group, a great group here is Turner Wood and Smith. That is the sponsor of the show. Make sure that if for any of your insurance needs that you are going to Turner Wood and Smith, headquartered out of Gainesville, Georgia, my hometown here, but they help people all over the Southeast, all over the country, in fact, and they're going to partner you up with tremendous policy providers like auto owners, and speak from experience, life, home, car, business. They can take care of everything that you need. So we appreciate Turner Wood and Smith Auto Owners Insurance for taking care of us here on UGA Sports Rumors versus Facts. And also, guys, they are totally happy to take care of you, all your insurance needs. Been around both companies for over 100 years. So give them a shout. We'll put descriptions in the story we'll put out tomorrow, and I'll edit and put it in the link here later on after this. So, Trent, now we got to talk about Marcus Deal came in town. We don't know exactly what the defensive line is going to shake out like. We got some questions that later, so we don't have to touch, too heavily on it here. But I know, Jordan Hall is somebody that they really want, but at 6'6", almost 300 pounds, Marcus Deal it's never bad to bring a guy like that on campus and show him around and see, how he feels about your program.
No, and this is kind of this is more Kirby's game season, but this is when Kirby loves to recruit, and this is when this is why I never discount what happens. This is why I say don't worry about what happens in June and July and August, because Kirby's going to bring some dogs on campus this fall, and he's going to get his. And not saying he's going to get this one necessarily, but he's going to have his fair share of linemen and defensive linemen, linebackers, etc. on campus this fall, and he's going to make a play for a lot of the big dogs come December. And Dill is just another one of those guys. You mentioned Hall and Dill, and they already have a commit there, and they're in for several other guys, and this defensive line class has the potential to be really, really good. Now, there's not as much, and we'll see as the fall progresses who they continue to get on campus.
Yeah,
but
they got Jamal Jarrett, like you pointed out, too.
Jamal Jarrett.
That's already in tow. the thing with Marcus Deal is I talked to him leading into the visit, and he's from Texas. So, of course, Trey Scott was making the connections there with Bear Alexander, a guy from Texas. And lo and behold, Bear Alexander showed out and had himself a really nice game. Played the most that he's played, really contributed a lot. Also, Marcus Deal has connections to Chidera Uzo-Deribe from his time at TCU there at SMU and TCU. He was there at TCU for a cup of coffee, but he really was recruiting Marcus Deal when he was at SMU. So some connections there. Of course, AD Mitchell and Bell also, those two receivers also from Texas. So Georgia's no stranger to dipping into the state of Texas there, Trent. And I think that Marcus Deal had a really good visit, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. He told me he's not going to make a decision till after his senior season's done. He wants to get through all that, but he's already made official visits to Arkansas, to USC. He made one to Georgia, Texas, Oklahoma could be in line to get an official visit from him as well. I believe he also made one to TCU. So Texas and Oklahoma are actually going to be fighting out for that last official visit later on in the year. But Marcus Deal is a name to kind of keep your eye on there.
I think what's important, to have early official visits and for those type prospects is to get your official visit and try to solidify an unofficial visit in late November, early December, sometime around that time. And that way, especially have a kid from Texas who still have a Texas official visit, try to get them back on campus and keep that relationship going. And I know Georgia staff will, but getting them back on campus will be important here.
Yeah, so we'll see if Deal ends up making a return visit. That would be key there. Of course, the mysterious one, Seven Cloud, is also still technically committed in this class as a defensive tackle, but we don't know. That's probably not going to turn out that way before the end of the cycle. So we'll go from there. But Big Fatty 94 right here is our first question here, Trent. Do we have a legit shot at Deuce? Would he be considered a flex, wide receiver, tight end, running back like Bowers? I'll hang up and listen. So, hey, we're treating it like a call-in show here. We appreciate you submitting your question. Do want to mention that all these questions, before Trent hops in on this one, all these questions come from loyal members of the UGA Sports Vault. So make sure that you are a member of UGA Sports. Get in on the vault and submit your questions to us, and we will get in contact with you. We do see these people out here: Mary Hamby, Rhett Womack, Boise Dog, Worm, Harry Leg, Kirby's Visor. Everybody's on here in the YouTube chat. So keep things going in the YouTube chat. We'll get to that as well. But Trent, what is your thoughts on Big Fatty 94's question right here on Deuce?
Number one, I do think there's a legit shot. The kid's talking about dual sport, being a dual sport athlete, being baseball and football. And, of course you worry about with the MLB thing on that, but that's a ways to go. But as far as being Brock Bowers, I don't think you're going to see a Brock Bowers, just like you're not going to see a Herschel Walker, and like you're not going to see. I mean, there's type of players you're not going to see again, and with Brock Bowers' build the way he is, you're not going to see many tight ends, running backs that can high point balls like the way Brock Bowers can. I mean, it's just freakish the way he does things. Now that we're talking about 6'7" cat here, this is not. He's probably not going to be running the ball a lot. It's from a running back position or from an end around position. Now you're probably going to see some high points. You're going to see him moved around in maybe a slot, flex him out, maybe some H-back, maybe some different things, but I don't think you're going to see him used in the ball carrier game as much as Brock is.
Yeah, it's a totally different deal. Totally different style of play, but he will be versatile. And I think it's a situation, and I did want to bring this up just because, people are throwing around Todd Monken's name with the Georgia Tech job there, Trent. I think that, I don't see that happening, but let's just say something like that did happen. I think you're in a situation now because of how this has gone down, right, with Georgia. They've had success, won a national title, been as productive as they've been ever with offensively wise, it seems. I think it's a situation where even if Monken were to go somewhere, which I'm again repeating, I don't think he's not. I think Kirby Smart would do like some of these other coaches, Mike Gundy and things like that have done, and keep the system basically in place and make the new coordinator kind of adapt to that system. I really believe that's kind of how that would work.
Yeah, and you always want it to be that way, and at times it doesn't necessarily go that way as far as when you the motions and stuff like that. But I 100% agree with you. I think Kirby likes where his team is from an offensive standpoint right now, and the way things are going, the way things are trending in that way. I think he's happy with Monken. He would like to keep Monken around, but if he's not going to tell me not to be a head coach somewhere. But
my point, all that was to say, I think they're going to continue to go out and find versatile guys like this because I don't think the system's going to change much at Georgia.
And I'm not sure. And I think everybody is kind of frantic that they say, well, Bobo is going to be the next one. I don't think that's necessarily the case. Muschamp wasn't the next one. I mean, Muschamp's not calling the defense. Schumann is. I think Kirby's going to do what's best for this football team, and I think what would be best at somebody, and whether it's Buster Faulkner, whoever it is, who can run that offense the way Monken's running it, and I think that's exactly the way it needs to stay in place. And you're exactly right. I think Kirby's happy with it, and it just needs to be implemented further with the next offensive coordinator for the University of Georgia.
Yeah, and it would just help with the continuity in recruiting and how you're going about things. Some of these type targets as well, I think.
And Buster Faulkner's been with Todd Monken for years now.
Good while.
So he kind of knows how everything's run, and I think I'm not sure he would be the guy, but he is a guy that could step in and fill that role, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's been heavily involved in a lot of recruitments for sure. So that's one indicator there. The Boy Racer 45. If you could choose one prospect currently committed to another school that you think Georgia has the best chance with, who would it be? And Arch Manning is off the table. Say Arch.
I'm not going with Arch.
I'm going to assure you. No, I think. To me, it's either got to be Anthony Evans or Justice Haynes. I think those are the two that they have the shot with. And the only reason I say Justice Haynes is because it still boggles my mind that he ended up at. I know that we said it on that day. Up until about 20 minutes before that came down, the Georgia staff didn't even know yet that he was going to Alabama. It was a down to the wire type thing, kind of came out of nowhere on that. And there were commitment videos and everything shot, where he was going to be going to Georgia, all that good stuff. Like there was all those talks going on. And with him still being a legacy, I think Georgia's going to continue to pursue him. So I think that would have to be him or Anthony Evans, which they were also very close with. Trent.
Yeah. I was going to say Anthony Evans. I mean, there's still a lot of talk there, and Texas A&M's not exactly blowing up the passing yards game per game, and so yeah, I would definitely say Anthony Evans, Justice Haynes. If you're looking even farther, Roderick out at UCLA.
Yeah, well, that's I almost at this point overlooked that one because I feel like he's actually coming on an official visit October 8th, and there's lots of stuff we got a question on him here in a minute, but I definitely think that's a major possibility there. C-Buck 11 says, how are we looking for Cam Pringle, Daniel Calhoun, and Josiah Thompson in the 2024 class? I feel like offensive line needs to be a huge point of emphasis. I know a little bit about, Cam Pringle's recruitment. Jed's kind of more keyed in on that one. Daniel Calhoun, I know they're very much involved with. In-state guy, want to keep him around. Josiah Thompson, not as much, but one guy I think that everybody needs to know as well Jimothy Lewis. Their Trent. I think that he's going to be a big name in this class of 2024.
Yeah, and this is a kid that I've known for a couple years now. The kid was, around 6 foot, coming into high school. Barely played football in his life. Now he's at 6'7", offers all around the country. One of the top offensive linemen in this class. Georgia's on him, and he's decided, he's playing this year down at IMG Academy, which puts him closer to Georgia. From his original hometown, Mississippi. So Georgia's going to be a player here. I know the Mississippi schools are on him hard. Ole Miss is on him hard. But, Georgia's definitely going to be a school in the mix for Jimothy.
Daniel Calhoun he's out of Centennial High School in Roswell, and I think Tennessee is a very big factor here with Daniel Calhoun. So, hey, Tennessee's got some momentum right now, but it's going to be, I think Georgia and Tennessee are two of the Florida State as well. So all three programs that have a lot of momentum this year, honestly, and I don't think we would have said that about Florida State coming into this season, but hey, they're sitting there undefeated, just had a big blowout win over Boston College over there. So, but Daniel Calhoun, Trent, I think not only in size but in importance in this class, he moves well. Sometimes I think you do have to see a little bit of maturity out of some of those tackles, especially when they're that big, to make sure that they're playing hard all the time, and I think that comes over time, especially when you face tougher competition. But the mobility and the size are certainly there with Daniel Calhoun.
Yeah, no doubt. And like the question says, I mean, this is a huge point of emphasis. I think it's a huge point of emphasis every single year. I think landing an elite lineman is where it's really got Kirby and this football team where they're at. And the past couple of years has not been elite. They've landed, and not saying that, Pittman was bringing in 4 or 5 elite linemen every single year. And you can't realistically keep that pace up. But I think landing multiple, 2, 3 elite guys year in and year out, and they've had some 3-star guys work out for them, and like Devin Willock and all those guys that have come through. But I think this is an important class. I think it's important in 2023. It's important in 2024. I think it's important in 2025 that you land on your guys, and especially your in-state guys.
Yeah, we had a YouTube question here, kind of switching gears to the defensive side of the ball. And in the class of 2023, he said, sounds like AJ Harris is putting that work in. Mpemba equals dog in his opinion. In Rhett's opinion, thoughts on Mpemba? I know that you and I both have felt good about Mpemba for a while. I actually put in FutureCast, a few days apart, not too long ago. It just seems like ever since Uzo Deribe came in, that recruitment really got revived and taken to another level.
Yeah, for sure. And it's Mpemba's originally a Missouri kid, and is down at IMG as well. I think Georgia's going to have a lot of success at IMG here in the next couple classes. AJ Harris putting in work, and I think Georgia sits in a very good spot from Mpemba. Georgia's done a good job of building that relationship, and it kind of showing him how he would mold in, and not only on the football team, but as a student athlete, and everything seemed to click up to this point.
Absolutely. We got more questions we're going to get into here, but guys, we got a lot of people in here watching. Do us a favor, hit that subscribe button if you don't already. We got lots of people that watch every week that aren't subscribed yet. It's free. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the like. And just because you guys are so awesome, we're going to treat you here to our new show partner here. Just give it full transparency. They're giving us a little trial run here, and we'd love for you guys to participate because, hey, Trent, what was the big problem with Georgia on Saturday? They didn't take care of what?
The ball?
Yeah, they didn't take care of the ball. But, hey, we got something for you. You can take care of your balls with Manscaped. So right here, if you got any needs in grooming grooming needs, then you get 20% off with Manscaped. Free shipping promo code UGA Sports. Go to manscaped.com. Would help us out. Hey, we're just being totally honest. It would help us out. But hey, you could also help yourself out. They got all kinds of products over there. Look, I got a little promo sheet here. They got all kinds of deodorant, balms, razors, colognes, everything, man. So manscaped.com and use promo code UGA Sports. Look, that was like they're trimming in between the hedges over there, getting ready for game day. That's what the lawnmower 4.0 looks like over there.
I don't have no words for that. I mean, that's.
He has no words.
Hey, I've had my third kid. Blaine's on his third kid, so we're good.
Lad McConkey could have used some of that this weekend. Take care of the ball over there. So, hey guys,
Kirby cussed that out of him on the sideline. So
absolutely, he didn't need any Manscaped. I think some hairs just started falling off Lad's body. He was probably scared to death over there with Kirby. But 20% off Manscaped. I'm going to leave the promo code running along the bottom there for just a minute, but we'd appreciate if you guys would help us out on that. Now, let's get to San Diego Dog 1. And San Diego Dog 1, this is probably Roderick Robinson's father in disguise here, so it's okay. He's probably already a member of the UGA Vault, putting in his question. But he says, this person on the Vault says, compared to the last few years at this same time, where does this recruiting class compare with in terms of who we have as commits? Is this cause for concern? Are we on the right track? All this kind of stuff. Of course, we are referring to Georgia. So Trent, comparing this class to the one the year before and previous years, they're sitting there at 19 commitments right now. It's about to flip into October. They're ranked number 7 in the country. Thoughts on where the pace of this class is right now?
It's about where you expect a Kirby class to be about this point. I mean, yeah, sometimes it's a little higher. Sometimes it's already in the top 5. But where you're at right now, is it make a big difference? The thing about Kirby is he always closes, and that's what he's done since he's been in Athens. Is he's always closed. And he's never had really the top class going into the initial signing day. He always overtakes it on the early signing day. So where he's sitting right now, you expect him to be around 19, 20 so commits coming into the fall, and that's where he's at. I mean, you could add one coming up with an announcement coming up very soon, but
we haven't even talked about that second part of the show here tonight, so.
But you kind of expect him to be at this number, and you could see it go up by 2 or 3 over this fall, and you expect him to sit at 22 or so going into the early signing period, and then there might be a couple that don't make it on to the at signing day, and there's probably going to be 4 or 5 more that do make it on. So Kirby always finds a way to close, and that's what you want. You don't want somebody who starts early and fades at the end. You want somebody who would rather start slow and hit a bang at the last. And Kirby always seems to have some fireworks come December.
Yeah, and to your point, you said an announcement very soon. Tyler Williams commits tomorrow at 7 p.m. So this is going live on Monday. He commits Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Was in Miami over the weekend to see them absolutely get shellacked by Middle Tennessee State, the Flying Blue Raider, Pegasus horse, whatever they are, just absolutely destroyed the Hurricanes at home. So I can't imagine that was a great game day experience over there. But he was in town. He stayed for the stayed around for different activities there in Miami afterwards. So we'll see how things end up with Tyler Williams. But have to feel like, Bryan McClendon is too good of a recruiter, in my opinion, Trent, to not be able to close on some of these guys that he's been targeting since February. And Tyler Williams was literally the first guy that he offered when he got the job.
Yeah, and they've kind of made it public knowledge. His mother that NIL is not going to play a big impact in his recruitment, and some people say that, and it does at the end of the day. But I think Tyler and his family are going to do what's best for him in the situation. And Miami was one of those schools in the spring that I talked about that was having a good spring and recruiting, and I said, this is one of those teams that you have to wait till fall hits. You have to see what they put on the field, and losing to Middle Tennessee State and Texas A&M going down to App State, and games like that, that doesn't hit home with certain recruits. Certain recruits are out there just looking for NIL, and I don't think Tyler Williams is necessarily that prospect.
Now, we never want to say that anything is wrapped up in this world of recruiting until it is totally done, because that could be the case. People say a lot of things, Trent, but who knows how things go when push comes to shove. But it does seem right now that Georgia's in good position right there, and that would really kind of low key give Georgia, in my opinion, an underrated wide receiver class that they're putting together. Raymond Cottrell, Yazid Haynes, two guys that can really run, and then you add a big bodied receiver in Tyler Williams that can really kind of go up and get that ball high pointed, kind of like you said, similar to Brock Bowers. But also what I've seen out of Tyler Williams this year, his senior tape, he's been really effective out in space, them getting him some now screens and things like that, and him making a defender miss and having plenty enough speed with his long strides to take him into the end zone and break away from defenders. So I think if Georgia does land Tyler Williams tomorrow, that's a huge deal for Bryan McClendon.
Yeah, and one of the things I look at is when I'll go back and film, and I'll look at their sophomore film and their junior film, and you're looking at there's certain guys out there that hadn't really got much better, but they're very good, and they're kind of already polished at that. And this is a guy that's still really growing in the game of football. He's still improving. He's still polishing out his game. He's developing as a route runner. He's developing with his his high point in the ball, and like you talked about, gaining those yards after the catch, and moving laterally. I think his best game has yet to be seen, and I think that could develop more into Athens and making him one of those receivers, kind of like AD Mitchell is coming in as a. I mean, yes, he's a Rivals 250 guy, but he's not one of the top wide receivers in the country, and I think he could ultimately develop into one of those, top wide receivers in the SEC.
Yeah, well, you remember the clip of AD Mitchell just absolutely mauling a dude against Oregon and blocking him as well. That's a big part of Georgia, especially the way they're getting the ball quick out of the perimeter to backs and all these other receivers and things like that. You got to be able to block, and Tyler Williams, a big-bodied guy. He's an aggressive, physical guy as well. So that he just seems like a fit for Georgia's offense. So we'll see if that becomes official tomorrow night at 7:00. Feel pretty good for Georgia right there. Harley Dog 80, any word on when Jordan Hall is committing? How is Georgia's chances? Thanks for everything y'all do. Go Dogs is what Harley 80 says. So I've seen, that he's going to be taking official visits all the way out. He's got official visits planned out into November. Trent. So I don't know that he's necessarily planning on accelerating a commitment time. Now, who knows? Things could come up sooner, but I think right now he's still looking to get some of these visits in that he's really been looking forward to.
Yeah, didn't he take some Did he take officials in the spring or no?
Yeah, I think he took a couple early, and then then I'm not certain. Not certain. I think he's got Ohio State left in November that he's going to be trying to get to. So he's still got a couple that he's working on. We know Georgia, Florida, Ohio State, all these types of schools, even Florida State are really prevalent here. And I just wonder how much his infatuation with Florida State may increase a little bit more with them having success and things like that, but I know Georgia's in a good spot in this recruitment with him.
Yeah, and I think this is another defensive lineman, and Trey Scott has been excellent at this aspect of not only recruiting and getting these guys on campus and developing, but this kid is potential is sky high to be one of an outstanding defensive lineman in the SEC. He's listed 6'5", 306. He's just turning on his film. I mean, he looks great. He's another athletic guy. Um, I think he's better than what his ranking is currently. But also, I think Georgia sits in a really good position. I think Trey Scott has built a great relationship, and Georgia has a lot of ties down in Jacksonville. So, by one of their best recruiters on the team. So, I really like where Georgia stands in that recruitment, and moving forward. And Georgia still got an official visit on the schedule.
And we're telling people all around the world apparently about these official visits and these guys. Trey from Bangkok, Thailand is watching the show right now. So appreciate you tuning in from Thailand over there.
He only came in because of the ball shaving.
Yeah, that's why. That's why he came in over there. the Manscaped ad, people, it went worldwide quick, got his attention over there. So no, but let's get some more of these questions here. We got Speedy Dog. He said, do we Georgia lead for Damon Wilson? Also, is Dylan Edwards a real possibility at running back, or do we have an OV scheduled with Edwards? Not that I'm aware of with an OV for him. And then Damon Wilson, I wouldn't go as far to say Georgia leads for Damon Wilson right now because I think that top five was very hotly contested for him. Trent, what's your opinion on guys like Damon Wilson and Dylan Edwards?
Yeah, Damon Wilson is a guy that I could see coming all the way down to the end. Like you said, he hasn't really hinted one way or another among his top five who's really standing out. I know Ohio State's up there. Didn't Ohio State just get an official visit? I think they did, but yeah, I very much think, again, it goes back to a relationship standpoint that I think Georgia's done a good job in this recruitment. Georgia's been on him. Georgia's got a lot of good recruiters on that defense. When it comes to Muschamp and it comes to Kirby himself and Schumann, and this is a this is one of those recruitments that's going to come down to December, maybe even a signing day announcement. But I think Georgia's very much in it. Alabama is very much in it. Ohio State's very much in it, and I don't even remember the other two. The other two is probably Florida schools, and I'd kind of discount them. So
as far as Dylan Edwards, he was originally committed to Kansas State. And I know he decommitted. Now he's committed to Notre Dame. Georgia, a lot Jamarian.
Wilcox. He don't have he has Miami in his top five.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is with Dylan Edwards, and like we've been saying with Jamarian Wilcox forever, he's getting recruited by other schools, but you got to have a Georgia offer first before you can get things taken too seriously. And I don't think that's happened yet for either one of those. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Dylan, I was talking more about Damon, but Dylan Edwards, that is a guy who, another one. I think his name's coming up because that's another guy that Georgia's evaluating, and Georgia's got a bunch of those evaluations going on now. We've talked about, you talked about. Who'd you just talk about?
Jamarian Wilcox.
Oh yeah, Jamarian Wilcox. Then we talk about Louis. Louis is coming on campus for the Auburn game, and I talked to him
at Meadow Creek.
At Meadow Creek, he's having a big senior year. He's one of the top rushers in the state of Georgia, and one of the top classification. So he's having a big year at Meadow Creek, and he will be on campus for the Auburn game. So it's not an official visit; it's unofficial. But he was just on campus. He's a West Virginia commit. He's received a ton of offers since then. He was on campus in North Carolina this past weekend. He received an offer from the Tar Heels, and will be at Georgia for the Auburn game. And his name's going to come up. But again, like you said, none of these guys have offers. So until these offers come, we don't really know where they're at. But I do know they're in that evaluation. Dale McGee is really evaluating this position hard.
Jed wrote about Jalen Johnson from Appling County. He was there, 2023 guy this past weekend. He's listed as an athlete, but definitely a running back. That could play the running back position. Del McGee is recruiting him as well. So, that's wide open now. We'll see how it ends up. But I think you also got to remember that transfer portal is always an option in this offseason. So keeping on that, Big Dog says, any updates on the big UCLA running back commit Robinson? We've just confirmed with him, his family, that he's going to be in town for the Auburn game. And he visited Texas A&M recently. It definitely seems like he's trending away from UCLA. It's just a matter of which school in the southern part of the country will he probably be attending. And I think Georgia's got a great shot, and they're going to have a big opportunity on that Auburn weekend to possibly seal the deal there.
I think there's a lot of people trending away from that UCLA program.
Yeah, including fans. I mean, there's nobody in the stands as well. So it's interesting over there. Speedy Dog had another question. Do you guys have any idea how much the Classic City Collective has raised for NIL? All I know is this: they did a kind of a big push over that 21 club not too long ago. That was on the event and everything like that. Had some people posting about it, and then about a week span, they doubled the amount of people that they had signed up, and that's in terms of reoccurring donations. There, they've always been able to go out and get the big one-offs there, Trent, but it's those reoccurring ones that Hibbs and company over there with the Classic City Collective are really pushing for.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of big because here's the part of the NIL game that I think Kirby does a good job at. All these schools throw their offers out. They throw their offers out in March and throw their offers out in April. Kirby's not going to play that game, Kirby can't play that game. Head coaches can't play that game. But what I'm saying is, when it comes to NIL, these collections are not going to. A lot of them are throwing them out at any point during the year, saying, "Hey, here's this, here's that."
Nope. I think I lost Trent there for a second. I'll bring him back on if he comes back on the screen here. But yeah, I agree with him. I think that Georgia's going to bide their time and when I say Georgia, I do mean the Classic City Collective in terms of that. So it'll be interesting to see how that develops late. I'm going to throw up another question here from Fieldsy0624. We talked about running back recruiting a while ago. He says, why has the running back recruiting taken such a fall off in the past few classes? And how are other teams using negative recruiting against us? I think it's just, I don't know how that you would negative recruit against Georgia's running backs. I mean, that in terms of the production over the years and things along those lines, the running backs they put in the NFL, heck, they just put Zamir White and James Cook, and James Cook played a role, in big role in Buffalo's offense yesterday. So it's going to be interesting to see that. But Trent, we're talking about running back recruiting. Why is it taking such a fall off in the past few classes? That's Fieldsy 0624's opinion. How are people using negative recruiting? I don't know how you would use negative recruiting against Georgia's running backs, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you go through a big state like they've had since back in whenever they got Gurley, whenever that was. Like, they've had a stretch over 14, 13 years that they've even back to Noshawn Moreno, where they've just landed elite running back after elite running back. And I know they've had a couple years in there, but Georgia just landed an elite running back last year in Branson Robinson. And they landed another great running back. And this class is not over with yet. And they missed on their top target. They missed the one. They left their eggs in the basket, and he hadn't signed yet, but they initially missed on him. He went to Alabama, but I'm not. I think Georgia's going to land an elite running back in this class. I still think they are, and because Dale McGee is a great recruiter. How they're utilizing the backs this year, and how some of the other kids that have went elsewhere and how they're not utilizing the backs. So I still think Georgia's going to land an elite running back in this class.
Oh yeah, I think so as well. Last question we have here is from GDog09. May have 3 edge guys in the class with 2 targets listed as true DL. He said he thought these numbers would typically be reversed, so he thought it'd be 3 DL and 2 edge guys. You guys have a feel as to what the total numbers on these positions will be? Trent, when it comes down to it, I know they have Jamal Jarrett, like we said, that's going to be a true DL. And then I think it's probably a either or situation, Marcus Deal and Jordan Hall. I probably don't see both of them. They're still pursuing James Smith heavily. And I've been assured by people in that camp that it is Georgia is still very much in things with James Smith. It looks like with the way things are going for Auburn and even for Florida throughout this season, that Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State are the front runners for both he and Quay Russaw. So I think they're very much in it for about 4 DL guys that are still there, and then the edge guys, we know we talked about in Pimba. They already have Gabe Harris. To talk about Damon Wilson, and then Quay Russaw's out there as well. So,
yeah, and some of those guys can even, I know the inside linebacker class is stacked as well, but they're guys that you can move all over the place, and at the defensive line, I think you're good with bringing in 3. I think and a 4th. Maybe a 4th, and then on linebacker on the edge 3. It's hard to say because with the way that the new numbers are, as long as you have the spots in the you can kind of go up to that number now. So the scholarships available. So it'd be interesting to see how Kirby approaches that with this being the first year of that, because Georgia could legitimately get up to 30 in this class if they had the spots available.
Yeah, and it's also going to be interesting to see with that new rule in effect how it's managed with, okay, I'm going to be honest with you, you're not going to play this much next year, or you might as well go and hit the portal or those kind of things. You never know. So we'll see how it all.
There's going to be some start talking about trying to talk people out of the scholarship more so than I think to open up those spots to bring more of these guys in that are trying to get.
Yeah, for sure. So, guys, we do appreciate you tuning in to Rumors versus Facts each Monday night. Presented to you, our title sponsor here, Turner Wood & Smith Insurance, in cooperation with Auto Owners Insurance. Like I said, both in business over 100 years. They will help you out. Go to twsinsurance.com or auto-owners.com to check out both of those companies. We greatly appreciate them. And then also our new sponsor that we got going here that we brought up earlier, Manscaped. And I'll put the promo code down there. You use UGA Sports to receive 20% off and free shipping with Manscaped. So go ahead and check that out today. Appreciate that. So, guys, that is our show on Georgia football recruiting this Monday night. I know if weather permits, Trent, I'm going to be trying to get to that. I think Meadow Creek plays North Gwinnett maybe. So I think I might try to go see that one. Check out Jordan Lewis and see how he looks in person. I may go to that one. You got anyone in mind that you may be going to this Friday night?
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one that I had talked to Wofford about going to. No, it was. I knew it was this week, but that's the one I talked to Wofford about going to. Either that one or the one 2 weeks later. I believe they have a home game. This one's at North Gwinnett.
Lost Trent here right at the end. All right, well, there's an ending to the show. It's an omen. We got to wrap it up. The technology is failing us, guys. So for Trent Smallwood, Blaine Gilmer, here for UGA Sports Rumors versus Fact. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications. We'll catch you guys next time.